The time has finally come for one of the most anticipated movies of 2012 to finally take its bow and present to the world the final piece of Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy in the form of The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises sees many returning old faces come back for the finale, with Christian Bale, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine and Gary Oldman all reprising their lead roles. While adding to this cast, this time round, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Detective John Blake, Marion Cotillard as Miranda Tate, Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, and Tom Hardy as the main protagonist, Bane. This time around we find ourselves 8 years on from the events of The Dark Knight, and the city has now passed the Dent Act, which is seen to clean the streets of Gotham, and on the anniversary of his death, Harvey Dent Day is celebrated. Bruce Wayne is now taken to seclusion and runs things from afar after the events of The Dark Knight. When it comes to light that events are beginning to unfold that could see Gotham City under threat from a masked mercenary known only as Bane, Bruce Wayne seeks to put the cowl back on and find out just what is going on in the city's underworld. To tell you any more about the story, and many of the twists and turns of the movie will be given away. However, what I can tell you is that what unfolds over the next 2.75 hours is the fall and rise of Batman in a world that had become no longer reliant upon him, but in this hour of need finds itself helpless at the hands of someone who is clearly willing to go to any means necessary to carry out his master plan. Nolan over the last 7 years has managed to turn the superhero movie world on its head by grounding its hero in a real world, which has made the movies feel much more believable, let alone relatable. So the big question here is, does The Dark Knight Rises fit a swan song for Nolan's Batman? In my view, not really. In view of a trilogy, this is perhaps not the best of the three movies. And for those of you that haven't stopped the video by now, I'm going to explain my viewpoints and reasoning for this call. The Dark Knight Rises is something which is very different to the previous movies, in the fact that the feel of the movie is never quite as real as it has been in the previous movies, which may have something to do with the timescales that the audience have to deal with in this one. Here, we are led to believe that Gotham will suffer a slow and painful demise at the hands of Bane, which will take 5 months. But if anyone leaves the island of Gotham, then the device that is currently threatening the city will detonate immediately. In previous movies, this threat has been done with an instantaneous threat, such as Ra's al Ghul's use of a chemical attack, or the Joker's bomb plots. Compare this to the beginning of the movie, where there is a real sense of urgency to understand what is going on, and the real threat of just what Bane can do, as he can snap necks with ease, or as he and Batman square off within the sewers of Gotham. Within these scenes you get a real sense of the sheer dominance that Bane has over Batman, and topped off by some great lines delivered at key points in the fight. But Bane's line proved to be an issue, and it is not the delivery or content of them, but it is the audio boosting of them. It was said that in the early screenings of footage with Bane, the mask made his lines hard to understand, and that to help prevent this, Nolan should boost the audio. Well, we can certainly hear Bane very clearly in this movie. It's just that his audio has a re-recorded feel to it and contains none of the background noise that dialogue should have. This is clearly evident in action sequences, no more so than his face-off with Batman. Overlook this issue, and Hardy really pulls off what Bane is, a monster who outmaneuvers Batman with each punch and each action and each thought. But Bane is not alone on being on the wrong side of Batman, as there are many people who play key roles within this movie, and many of them not revealing their hand until later on in the movie. Combine this with the morally grey role of Catwoman, as played by Anne Hathaway, and the actors come across quite well. This movie isn't really, as such, a Batman movie. It is a movie about the legacy of Batman, which is left behind. This is evidenced by not only the ending of the movie, but by the fact there are very few sequences with Bruce Wayne wearing the suit as Batman. Couple this with the fact that there is a heavy focus on the Gotham PD characters, such as Detective John Blake. Of the three movies that Nolan has made within this universe, this appears to be the most comic book-like, with the plot being less realistic than the others, and many characters feeling like they've popped in to quickly move the plot and jump over a hole the writers appear to have backed themselves into. While writing this review, the original draft was full of venom and dislike for this movie. However, while writing the draft, I've come to a slow realisation that this movie is not The Dark Knight. But it does require further viewing in order to fully take in what is going on, as this movie is packed with story to take on and create something that is part of a trilogy. But like great trilogies, such as the first Star Wars movies, the Godfather series, and many others to name, this movie suffers from the same curse that the third movie just can't quite live up to the superior second movie. The Dark Knight Rises is a very watchable movie that doesn't have the huge action pieces of something like the Avengers, but what it does have is a script which shows what a hero must go through in order to come through not only the mental challenges that it takes to become a legend, but the physical beatings it takes to get there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a comment, share, and feedback your ideas for future shows to me over Twitter, at Dr Dogbert, or in the comments section below. Oh, and one more thing. This may not be the last we see of Batman, as at the end of this movie, we are shown that the man is not the legend, but it is in fact the idea of a man taking a stand for what he believes in.